Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your boy, the seer, Mike the philosopher. Here with my boy, Black Mellow. And today's topic, I'm going to give a trigger warning to a fair warning, especially to, our community and especially the ladies and the queens in our community. This is a sensitive topic. Please, for the sake of conversation, if you could restrain from emotional responses or being triggered, we would appreciate that. This is just an open discussion to try to get to the bottom of some of the things that are going on in the community. And one thing I want all, especially all of the women, to know is that we love you to the bottom of our hearts. Period, point, and then blank. Okay. There is no question about that. And we want to make that clear from the jump. So please, this is educational. This is not anything divisive or derogatory. This topic is merely meant for educational purposes and to put things out on the table so that they can be discussed, repaired to a certain extent, or at least understood. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to let Black lead the question for today. And the question for today is what, Black?
Well, more of a topic than a question. It's
Oh,
like how do you rank the the impact of black fathers or the lack of the black father's presence in young black girls' lives?
the lack of the presence.
The presence, his impact, if he's there, whether good or bad, or the lack of his presence. Ultimately, the question is how is our presence or lack of our presence as black fathers impacting black girls' lives long term?
Well, I think that Black fathers is critical for not just the boys, but especially the girls. It is said that the girl's really first love is her father. He is the hero of the family. He is the Superman of the family. He is the protector of the family. He is the provider for the family. And in a lot of ways, he is also the I want to say disciplinarian, or at least the guide to how to do things, how a family is supposed to be run. I mean, he is the leader of the family. So when his absence is felt, it it reverberates. It has repercussions, and what ends up happening is a underlying resentment, not only towards the father, but also all men in general, starts to develop because the girls feel as though men don't love them. And I mean, that is not the truth. A lot of times there are situations and circumstances that cannot be fully understood by the kids. You know, it takes two to really agree upon running a household. And in my opinion, a lot of times incentives are given to separate households, especially in our community.
Like what?
Um, like the government, like the government will, if you need any kind of financial aid, It is said that the man can't live there. Um, a lot of times, a lot of times, uh, and this is just a trend. This is not really my opinion, but women are not really wanting to live under the same roof as a lot of the fathers. A lot of women aren't really interested in being wives, they just want to be mothers. And that's just that is my opinion. But I feel like the reason for that is because they're given incentives not to work on a family or not to um, have a family. If you're getting a check from the man who's not living there anymore, or if you're getting a check for um, social services or financial aid, if you're giving given a job, or promotions or things like that, and you know you don't really have no incentive to work things out with your mate, because the things that are um because the things that are that would a man would bring are normally given to women via court orders, and government or financial aid, or not financial aid, but social security, welfare, things like that, to the point where it eliminates the need to have a man in the house. So women say, skip that part, cut the check, give me the check, I'll raise the kids, I'll be the entire boss of the household, I don't have to answer to no man, and I will raise the kids myself. And a lot of times that part and gets missed, or gets not understood by the kids, and oftentimes, man, it's like the men really catch the brunt of it, because we are displaced from our kids. We can't raise our kids the way we want, and there's not much we can do about it. The court systems favor the mothers, so the kids automatically go to the mothers in a lot of cases. I would say most cases. So with the courts handing the kids to the mother, and with the courts incentivizing separate households, you now have a displaced home where the kids will suffer the most, because they don't have both parents under the same roof. And I think the system is set up that way because what they want to do is it's good for business to have broken homes. It's good for business, and let me explain why. If you're a real estate owner, would you rather rent out to one big family, or would you rather have the mother in one of your apartments and the father in the other apartment? It fills up demand. It fills up demand. If you keep them separate, they have to pay bills separately. So that means more money for you. And you keep them their poverty level low, but that's because they're not working as a team. If they're not working as a team, they have separate bills, and they have to pay those bills and fill the owner's pockets. So it helps capitalism for families to be separated. And that's why they have it set up the way that they do, because back in the day you could afford a house for you know, pennies on the dollars today. You know, you could have bought a house for $20,000 back in the day, $20,000. Can't do that no more. Everything is, you know, quarter million to half a million and up. And the reason for that is because the demand has forced the price to go up. Because if families are not together no more, then the demand becomes higher. So I believe the court system really has it set up where it forces higher stream of demand to circulate money, let the rich get richer, and in the meanwhile, the kids suffer. So with that being said, I just feel like it's a situation where I know that a lot of the blame is put on the fathers. It's easy to do that. But I strongly believe fathers do love their kids, especially all their kids, not just sons and daughters, but just all of their kids. And, it gets more complicated than just the fathers not wanting to be there, you know. So that's how I feel about that.
All right. Ski, did you hear the question or the statement?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, go ahead, run it, Black.
It was pretty much, it's not necessarily a question, but how do you rank the impact of Black fathers in the lives of their daughters, whether it be positive impact or negative, for him being there or the lack of him being in her life? How is she gonna process that through life, as far as what is the impact gonna be on that young girl long term?
Yeah. So, well, I heard what Mike was saying about, how the families were, how has it been as of late, dysfunctional from the beginning of time, and we can go back to the famous letter. This is all by design again, Back in the days, they used to give entitlements for the man not to be in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's got a huge impact on any child life, father not being there. That's gonna be big, no matter what.
But what if he is there? What kind of impact would that have on the little girl, little Black girl in particular?
And that depends on, his lifestyle as well. If he's a stand-up dad, go to work, take care of his business, take care of his children, he living by the word, he doing everything necessary to, for his family to be together and to advance in this kingdom, so yeah, that's huge as well, They look for good, they love that, they dad there, without him being there, I know that. The girls need their dad.
Now, there is a narrative that's going around. It's a bit of the elephant in the room, and the narrative is Black women are not protected by Black men. How do you feel about that, Black? I'm gonna throw it to you now.
Well, in large part, I feel like the majority of Black men do protect Black women, but it is a popular trend as of late that too many black men don't protect black women, and their voice is louder right now. And some could even bring up some jaded, slanted statistics that would support the filings of violent acts against black women. Not to say it ain't happening in every other race's, background and demographic. Maybe they're not reporting it, or whatever, or what qualifies as a domestic violence act. Maybe it don't get recorded as much. Who knows? But as of right now, the statistics are way too high, negatively impacting black women. And really, it's really going to take accountability on our part to self-check, to start self-checking, people who we know is beating on women or harming women. We got to be more aggressive about protecting black women. It shouldn't even be a question. If we know we're under attack at every turn, but we are in a position where we're more ready to protect ourselves, then we have to go further to make sure women know, girls know, somebody is going to step up and protect you. They need to know that like they know it. Like, it's got to be at least one phone call I can make and get somebody here to protect me. And it's got to be a black man.
Exactly. And here's the thing, man. Sometimes people get caught up in their own situational biases. Um, we all know each other. We all know where we came from. So we can't really say we see a lot of what they're talking about. Like in my household, like my father was not the dude to let dudes hit on women or anything like that. I remember seeing him go across the street and this dude was beating on this chick. And he was like, "You think you're gonna beat up on a woman?" And Pop started wailing on this dude, and got the dude off of the woman. And I live by that mantra myself, just the way I was raised. And, but I can't, because of my own, anecdotal experience, I can't say that it's not happening. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's happening out there. I know it's happening out there. And you're right, Black. We do need to, as Black men, step up to the plate and protect our women, and it has to be us to do it, because a lot of them are losing faith and running to the oppressor, and when did going to the oppressor become a form of protection? I don't know, but I guess when you feel like you can't depend on your own men, you get desperate and look for people who can protect you. But my whole thing is, I there a part of it is a bit of double-edged sword, and this is why I say this. First of all, let's get the elephant out of the room. A lot of this is due to slavery. Hurt people. Okay, they just do. Hurt people. So a lot of the disenfranchised men in our community will do some things that are egregious, and I can't help but to think of like people like R. Kelly and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Not to now. Here's a statistic. I'm not going to say the word, but I'm gonna say rap, and it ends with an E. Okay, that word is really not as prevalent in our community as it is in others, believe it or not. Maybe domestic violence is, but not the other word. And I would also say that, you know, as far as our women are concerned, the double-edged sword is, yes, they do get they do get abused in certain ways, but that's in every community. And I would also say that a lot of times, um, the women in our community don't really look for us to protect them. As a matter of fact, a lot of them, sometimes they become adversarial, and they become to a point where they are competing against us, or they are just disrespectful to us. I mean, out the gate. I mean,
But you
I'm
don't feel
talking
like
about
that comes after the fact as
that's
a
a no,
result
that's
of
a learned behavior by a lot of the mothers. If the mothers say, like I said before in the beginning of this, like, we'll get displaced out of the home. When we get displaced out of the home, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the mothers become derogatory towards us. They teach that to the kids. It's called alienation. Okay. And when that alienation happens, the kids get, I don't want to say brainwashed, but they pretty much get to a point where they have the same emotions and feelings as the mother if the relationship didn't work out. And then next thing you know, it's, you know, they don't they don't really mess with us like that. You know what I mean? They don't really respect us because they see their mother not respecting us. So it's hard to protect a group of people who are constantly putting you down or not respecting you or don't care what you say. You know what I mean? And let's not pretend like, I love my sisters, but let's not pretend like they're not confrontational at times. They can be confrontational, probably more so than a lot of other communities. And when you're talking about protection, then if you want me to protect you, you have to allow me to protect you. But if you don't listen to me, which is probably the biggest problem, if you don't listen, I can protect you more than just in violent ways. I can protect you in advice. I can protect you in, not letting you make the wrong decisions. I can protect you in things to do and what not to do. I can protect you in a lot of different ways. It don't have to always be a violent exchange, but it can be just being a father. Protect how you move, you know. Um, but a lot of that falls on deaf ears. If I tell you, I want to protect you, and I tell you don't walk in the middle of the street when a bus is coming, and you think you got the world figured out, you've done it already. You go out in the street and you get hit by a bus, and then you want to, say that, I wasn't there to protect you, but you got to listen to me. We have to address all angles of this. Can fathers, especially Black fathers, be better? Absolutely, we could be better.
in
Can
what ways?
in the ways that we could be better is we can be more attentive to the kids. We could be more attentive, because here's the thing: if you are in their face often enough, they're going to listen to you. But the issue is, we're not always able to be in their face as often as we would like, due to work environment, due to not getting along with the baby mamas or ex-wives or whatever, you know. due to just trying to live a life to sustain yourself. You can call, you can definitely call and still mend that relationship with your kids. But it takes effort on both sides. Okay, it takes effort on both sides. The fathers can call, but the kids got to pick up. If the kids don't pick up, then that's on their side. But as far as the fathers, yes, they have to be engaged more with the kids, and I would say irregardless of the mothers, but a lot of times, they kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes you have to, especially if they're young, you have to kind of get along with the mother in order to get to the kids. But I think that's one thing that the men can do better is more engagement with the kids, and they have to get to a point where the kids can feel like they can count on dad. And that's one thing, we have to keep our word with stuff. If we say something, we need to keep our word. And because one thing I learned having 5 kids, is that if you say something, you better do it, because they are counting on you to do what you say you're going to do. I got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to, like, I would rather surprise my kids than to tell them what I'm going to do. Like, if I got plans to go to Great America, Wisconsin Dells, or Disneyland or something, right? I ain't gonna tell them, oh yeah, y'all, I'm saving up for a Disneyland trip. Yay. And then I can't do it. And then it's like, a big letdown, because they done told all their friends and everything. They over bragging, but I will be like, all right, everybody get in the car. And then next thing you know, we on the plane to go to Disneyland. You know what I mean? I would rather do it that way, because you want to kind of minimize the disappointment your kids feel as much as possible, because that lends to your credibility, that lends to if they can count on you or not. And oftentimes, we let our kids down. We let our kids down. We want to give them the most. We want to do the most for them, but sometimes we can't even help to let them down. But if we do things a different way, like how I described, instead of telling them what you're going to do, just surprise them with stuff. I think that's just the best way to do it. But that's what we can do.
So as far as like the father being in the house, would it be more beneficial for a father to be in his daughter's life but be negative versus not being in her life that much but being a positive influence? Which one is better?
Not being in her life in a positive influence?
Not being in her physical life that much, but her exchange, her conversations, her outlook about who he is as a man, as a father. The conversations are fruitful. She looks forward to him. She learns from him. She knows, he will protect her, things like that. She's safe with him, but he just physically, maybe he lives somewhere else or something like that. So he's not physically there. Which one is like, how do you rank that?
Well, there is nothing better than being there. Being there is more than half the battle. You know what I mean? Being there is trumps all. Um, your physical presence, your, is because that lends to the security part, which is the man's number one thing is the security part. And if you can just be there and hold down the security part, that there's really no substitute for that. But being there is a problem because a lot of times it requires you to get along with the mother.
Yeah, I'm just saying outside of the mother issue. Outside of that.
Well, there is no outside of that. That the mother part is a part of it because you can't be
Let's
there.
just say, I'm talking about, let's just say you get along with the mother, that's not an issue. Let's say that.
If you get
Just
along,
your impact on your daughter.
if you get along with the mother, look, man, I don't want to see, and this is what we do. This is what we do. We always take, a lot of the accountability away from the mother part, and the mother part is very important. The mother part is very important. That's the catalyst that really makes all of this work out for the better, because especially the way the court systems is set up. So we can't dismiss the mother's part of this.
I understand that. I understand that completely. But what I'm trying to isolate is the father's role, his responsibility, his impact, outside of any exterior.
Well, you can't do that though. You can't outside of any exterior. You can't. There are a lot of factors that's involved with this. There's the courts that's involved with this. There's the mothers that's involved with this. There's the kids' participation that's involved with this, and of course, there's the father's part. There's it's moving parts. There's more than just.
Listen, I understand all of that. I understand that. What I'm trying to do, for the sake of this conversation, is assume all of those things are in place and they're working in our favor as black men.
If all of those things
I'm just
are
talking
in
about
place,
what can we do? What is our impact if those are not the problem?
we can do.
What is our impact?
We can do. I mean, our impact is, it's circumstantial. It depends on the situation. But what we can do is try to engage with the kids as much as possible, whether it be us being there physically or, phone calls, FaceTime now. It's actually easier to manage a relationship now, especially with social media, FaceTime phones, than it was back in the day. So it's becoming easier to stay connected in many different ways. So really at this point, it just takes the effort in all parties. Takes the effort in, the father's side, the kid's side, the mother's side. It really just takes effort in that and keeping that connection going. So
what you think, Ski?
That's what been the problem. Too many outside forces from the beginning. Like I was saying, it's about leading by example again, and if that's the way they want to follow, because at the end of the day, it's a spiritual thing. Because I know that the saying is it takes a village to raise a child, and that's what's been going on. That's been going on for I don't know, for me, since since we got off the ship. But anyhow, that's what's raising our kids now. The phones, the schools, all other outside influences are raising the children right now. The father, he can be there, what I'm saying, but like I said, if he's not showing a good example, or if your kid don't, ain't that ain't the way they gonna go, because that ain't the way Cain went. He went his way. So it's gonna be either or, So this is what they're taking in with right now, you know what I'm saying, with all of the things that's been, you know, put in place to keep the man out the house, you know, especially the black man, you know. I mean, if you you look at their shows, you know, how they, you know, and I ain't talking about the Obamas and stuff like that, you know. I'm talking about, you know, a man like me, you know, that stuff. It's a lot of shows, you know. I can go on and on with these shows, you know, how they made us look, you know, like the bad guy, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ski. You also have to wrestle with and deal with outside forces. Because but look, even if you are a good father, like we all good we all good fathers, right? But even if you are a good father, you have outside influences like these outside influences between Facebook, TV, media, uh, and let's just keep it a buck, feminism, you know, that really digs into the minds of especially young girls. It gets to a point where it's like you're always pushing a boulder uphill, trying to stay connected and trying to stay engaged because and then they turn on the TV and they see what? They see Megan Thee Stallion winning. They see Lizzo winning. They see Cardi B winning. And they busting the WAP and everything, right? So it's like you got to compete with that as a father because I don't cook, I don't clean, this and all this other stuff. And you as a father trying to tell your daughters, look, you know, ain't nothing wrong with cooking and cleaning. No, you trying to turn me into this, that, and the third. You're like, you got a lot of forces out here that's working against you. So we gotta, as a society, like this is what I like to say, man, is that, you know, back in the day, man, we was more of a village. We got to get back to the point of being a village because a village, it does take a village to raise a child. But right now, you know, a lot of people don't want to be part of a village. If you discipline somebody else's kids, they're gonna have a problem with you. And I'm, you know, and it is what it is, but there's a lot of outside forces, man, that come into play that maybe people back in the day didn't really have to deal with. They didn't really have to deal with all of that stuff. They were more of a village back then. You know, even if a girl didn't have her father, like, look, let's not ignore the fact that a lot of black fathers get locked up in jail. A lot of them are in jail for protecting women. Okay, a lot of them are in jail for it has something to do with a woman. So,
Yeah.
you
Remember
know,
when I got hemmed up, it was mostly
yeah,
domestic cases. But let me say this, man. This is what I this is where I'm at with it. I believe black men have been broken to the point where now we are complacent in our relationships with our wives, you know, with our significant others, you know, with our daughters. I think we know we have the heaviest burden in the community. So a portion of us is kind of spiteful in how we deal with women not considering their plot in this fight too.
but, but let me
Not
say this.
realizing, hold on, not appreciating fully that they have it worse than us, being our women, because they have to have the knowledge that they seen us get broken by inferior men or weaker men than us. They seen us get broken, and they still had to look to us for strength, knowing that we're broken emotionally and financially, educationally, our circumstance, how we move in these circles of business, how we function, how we provide. They know we're not at a superior level, but they still have to honor us as head of households, knowing all that stuff. So they have it, and then, them talking to their sibling or friends or whatever, knowing their friends is getting beaten, all types of stuff, bad, messed up stuff happening. They got to know that kind of stuff. And then when they look to us, we're coming up with all these reasons why we can't hold it down. And it's like, whether it's fair is I mean, we know what it is, but we have to do more of a better job in relaying the understanding that I don't care what the circumstances is. I'm not going to stop fighting for you as a black woman, as a black girl. I got you. I don't care what I got to do. I don't care about the circumstances. I'm going to hold you down if somebody come at you wrong. They going to get severely dealt with. They need to understand that somebody got them, and not just me. It needs to be a community effort. We got to check people who come at our women sideways. I saw one video of a dude who was trying to highlight this female. She rejected him, so he busted her upside the head with a skateboard. And that's just one example. The dudes out here is more emotional than the women is. They can't take rejection. So they coming at these women with all types of disrespect, and nobody is checking these dudes for that. The women aren't able to correctly check these dudes. These are grown men. They're not able to do that. But ain't nobody standing with this dude who saw that go down and recording it gonna say nothing to him. That's some punk stuff.
I
We
agree with
need
that.
to rise to the point where we are checking people. I don't gotta know you to check you. I'm staying out, I'm minding my business. She is our business. I don't care if I know her or not. Because I know I put myself on the line once or twice that's familiar for somebody that was getting domestically abused. And yeah, the person was, talking about threatening me with a gun and this and that and the third. I don't give no fucks about that. I don't care about that.
I
I
get
bet you one thing, you understand you're not gonna feel safe doing that type of activity around me. And that's the message that needs to be translated.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. We do, as men, especially, I've seen some videos too where I've seen some women getting abused, and the dudes was just recording the event like it was funny. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all? What are y'all doing? Go help that. Go help that woman. I mean, look, at that point, I don't care if I got a good I don't care if I know her or got a good relationship with her or anything else. I'm not going to sit there as a black man laughing, recording a video while I'm seeing one of our queens get beat. It's not going down. And like I said, we all know each other. We come from a different breed. We don't tolerate that BS. But I can't sit here and say it's not happening. You're right. We do need to get better, but that's when the men of our ilk will teach or train our sons or boys to protect our women. But now let me give you a flip side to that. Okay, there was a situation where a woman went into a China nail salon or whatever, right? And they didn't treat her right. They treated her bad, talked bad about her, whatever. She went and talked to one of her brothers. He came by, he throws a window in the China shop. He's saying, look, y'all ain't gonna be treating, no black women disrespectful no more, because the Chinaman actually fought this woman in the store. And
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, you seen that clip, and he was like, it's not going down. Well, needless to say, I think he got either fined or he went to jail for that incident, and she went right back to the same nail shop. This is what I'm talking about by not listening to us. There's more than one way to protect you. You have to listen, though. And that is a huge problem with our Black women not listening to the men. Now, he's probably went to jail, got a case off of that, and she went back to the same people. It's not going to work if it's only one way. Okay? You have to be willing to listen to the kings and the men in the group. But that's all the time we got for today, y'all. Thanks for joining. We could do a part 2 if you want. Click the like, share, subscribe, and since BMR covered it, now it's official. Peace.